What's up guys, It's Meta here, coming at you with another retro deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at Billy Break's top 4 Shonen Jump Edison Caliber Cat. This event is really popular because a lot of different decks could top the event. We hadn't gotten X-Sabers or Infernity yet, so the format was wide open. We had Gadget, we had Lightsworns, we had Gladiator Beasts, we had Gravekeepers, we had Gadgets, all that good stuff. So let's get right into the list. For the Caliber section, we have our 3 Doomcaliber Knights. This was a great turn 1 card, and it really shut down GBs and things like that, and gadgets. And we have the cat part. We got our 1 Rescue Cat. Cat was limited at the time. We were a few formats removed from Full Power Synchro Cat, but this card was still absolutely insane, and then it would later get banned because X-Sabers would abuse it. And then the 1 Summoner Monk to go get our cat from the deck, and to be a spellcaster for Arcanite. And then we have our cat targets. We have our 3 X-Saber Airbellums for our tuner, and our non-tuner we have 3 Ryko. Great way to make 5s. No level 6 non-tuner anymore. We were done playing Dark Panther. But this was just a great 6 cards because these could stand on their own a little bit better than Dark Panther. Dark Panther, I think, was really good because there were so many Judgment Dragons in the format that you could use its effect on. And next we have a small Gravekeeper engine. We have 2 Spy and 1 Descendant. It was kind of player preference of whether or not you wanted to play a Guard or Descendant. I like Descendant as well. Just because the ability to simplify the game state to pick off cards off your opponent's board. The only downside was this wasn't a really great card to draw, but you could always get another Spy with Spy and then summon this, and then you were able to, go off there. We have 1 Sangan to search out cards, and we have 2 Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon at one point in time was limited. We had 2, at least 2 for this format. We have the 2 here. This was a great way if you're going second. We played Fortress Dragon in the extra deck to get rid of all of those pesky fortresses. And a great play was Special Cyber Dragon and then normal Monk. And then you would get 2 tuners from the deck, and you were able to use the Monk to make Arcanite Magician, pop cards, pick a card out of their hand, and then make an 8 to protect yourself, and you really had a really good setup at that point. Next, for a couple boss monsters here, we got 1 Caius. Because we play Darks, we have 1 Dark Armed, 1 Chaos Sorcerer because we play Lights and Darks, and we don't have BLS, and 1 Gorz because Gorz is 2700 and gets us extra board presence. Next, we'll go on to the spells here to accelerate through our deck. And because we play plenty of dark targets, we have the 1 Allure of Darkness. We have 1 Smashing Ground as kind of a little bit of spot removal. A good way to pick off problem cards that you don't really want to deal with. A good target for this was something like Colossal Fighter if that was the only thing on their board. 2 Pot of Avarice to recycle monsters. It was at 3, but if you couldn't really get through your deck fast enough or cycle through fast enough, this card could become dead turn 1. Decks like Plants would play 3 because of how quickly they move through their deck and through their monsters, but 2 is perfectly fine here. A little monster stealing here. We have 1 Brain Control and 1 Mind Control to go for synchro plays. If your opponent would leave like a counter on Arcanite Magician, you could take it and then use their effects and things like that. 1 My Body is a shield for protection against things like Mirror Force. We have 2 Book of Moon. Book of Moon was at 3. I'm not a fan of 3 in a lot of decks just because I feel like the card is clog. It's a bad top deck. I mean, technically it is a -1, but this card is just absolutely so versatile, and there's so much you can do with Book of Moon, so it's completely understandable to play multiple copies. And then we have a couple back removal cards. 1 Heavy Storm and 1 MST. And on to the traps here. With those, we have the 1 Dust as well. We have a semi-blowout card here in Trap Dustshoot. Not as much of a blowout as something like Oppression, but this card was absolutely insane to be able to see your opponent's hand, know exactly what threats are left after you got rid of their most perceived threat in terms of their monsters. For battle traps, we have just 3 Deep Prison. He did not play Mirror Force, which I can kind of understand, but it is interesting they opt that he would go for 3 Deep Prison instead of 2 Deep Prison and then 1 Mirror Force, which is what I personally would do if I played this deck. But there were a lot of Stardust in the format, and to go along with that, we do have our 1 Starlight Road. This card not only a blowout against Heavy Storm, but is also absolutely insane against Icarus attack and Geyseris, especially attack, because they have to tribute to monsters. For them to tribute 2 cards and then to lose those 2 cards and then get a Stardust be facing a Stardust on board is just nuts. So this card was just absolutely killer against Blackwings. Double Bottomless, and then for the last trap we have 1 Solemn Judgment. On to the extra deck. For 5s, we have 1 Catastor, and because we obviously don't have Librarian, we play the 1 Android. The life actually was relatively relevant in some games, gaining the life during the end phase. And then for 6s, we have Goyo, just to be able to take monsters. The fact that it was 28 and generic and a 6 was just huge. And then 1 Brio for big damage potential to get rid of big monsters, big threats, just put them back in the hand. For 7s, we actually have a fair amount of 7s. We mostly 7s and 8s. We have 1 Black Rose and 1 Urbellum, which I think is odd, but it is really cool to see that Urbellum would get some play and cause your opponent to, go minus. And then for the last 7, we have 2 Arcanite Magician. This card was just absolutely insane to be able to just make a 7 and get rid of 2 cards and then still have a body on board. For 8s, we have 2 Stardust Dragons, kind of a staple of the format. 1 Thought Ruler, 1 Red Dragon, which is a great way to be a 3K body. And for the last 8, we have 1 Colossal Fighter. And then for 9s, we obviously did not have Trishula, so we have the 1 of Mistworm, and then the last card was the mentioned Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. There will be some duels in the description as well as the full list. Please like and subscribe for more retro format content, and thanks for watching, guys.